If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration. Jeez. It is September the 22nd, 2023, and today the topic is blindness and saliva. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thursday. Mine was just fine. Mine was good overall. Just went to the church and worked. Bounced quite a few ideas for the things that are coming up. And, I had a good meaningful conversation with one of my coworkers as well. Outside of that, that was the main stuff I would say. Me and my mom talked briefly yesterday as well, so that was always, enlightening and whatnot. Speaking of my mom, let's go ahead and shout out Inspirational Outreach, her nonprofit organization, and much more. Go check her out, y'all. Check out the things that she has going on. But yeah, man. Sorry, I was trying to find my little a thing from my mom, but anywho, as for yesterday, that's the main thing I would say overall. I'm trying to think, is there anything else of significance? I know we praying for my husband, y'all, praying for him to get into the things that he really would like to do. He sees and has a window of opportunity, so those that pray to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, continue to pray with me for him and everything like that. I mean, we don't know what things are going to look like and things like that. But, he has been super supportive of me and my endeavors. And so I intend to do the same for him. So whatever that looks like, we just pray that, God leads and guides the situation and helps us through, And so that's all I got to say about that. Y'all, September is almost over, man. Just a few weeks away, or few days really, I guess, because next week it'll be transitioning, right? And so y'all know October is rather busy for your girl, because I got both my guys that was born in that month, and we definitely gonna celebrate NJ. I don't know if we're gonna celebrate my husband or not, because he acts like he would prefer that we didn't, even though it's a milestone year for him, but whatever. So we'll see, we'll see about all of these things, but yeah, man, the year is almost done, man. Well, how do y'all feel about that? The fall is upon us, and the year is almost done. It has been truly Abundance 2023. Like I said, I'm already proclaiming abundance for the rest of my life. So Abundance 2023 and beyond, whatever I got to do to keep this abundance flowing with me, for me, and through me in my life, man, I want to continue, right? Staying on this path, because it's truly been a blessing, and I'm thankful for it. Well, I mean, I feel like it's testimony time or something, but I mean, let me just go on and get into the juice, I guess. You may be wondering, how did I come to today's topic? Well, ironically today, even though I did wake up a couple of times, like I woke up like around 11 last night, and then I woke up around 3 something this morning, and I know y'all are like, girl, it's after 7. So you mean you woke up on time, but you still late, or whatever the case may be. Well, obviously in between those times, I mean, I went back to sleep, and then I took some time to do the study and whatnot. So, that's what happened with that. But basically, I say all that to say that the time that I woke up had no bearings, I would say, on the inspiration, outside of like perhaps the little bit of scrolling on social media that I did. So I listened to the prayer meditation. Unfortunately, I don't remember. I know I played it twice, but I must have fallen asleep both times. either way, eventually I was just scrolling on social media. And I want to say on Facebook, I saw it was like a video, and it was talking about this lady who was blind and received her sight. I don't know if it was after a baptism, but it was something along those lines. And I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. But I didn't go deeper. I just scrolled past it or whatever. I just saw it. But then I went on Instagram, y'all, and at some point I'm scrolling and I'm just looking and I'm whatever. And then next thing I know, I see a man getting baptized and had received his sight, and was sharing his testimony. And I was like, okay, that's twice now. That's twice in this morning. Perhaps I should go deeper about this, right? So obviously you guys know that there's several accounts in the Bible about blind men, receiving their sight and things of that nature. So I went to peruse one of them, and it was the account in John 9 that stood out to me. You guys can read the entire thing on your own, because I feel like there's a lot there that you guys can go deeper about and get some revelations and stuff about. But I'm going to share the things that stood out to me and whatnot about this particular account. But yeah, and then I guess ultimately, if you're wondering where the saliva portion comes in, I know you might be thinking that it just has to do with the fact that, Jesus used saliva to make the mud or clay for the man's eyes, but it kind of goes a little bit beyond that as well. So let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Blindness and saliva. These are the things that stood out to me. So like I said, I went to John 9, read the entire account, and the first thing that stood out to me was John 9 and 3. Now, I ended up writing John 9, 3, and 4. I didn't mean to. I meant to write just 3. But I guess I'll read both 3 and 4 because that's what I wrote down. So this is what it says. It says, Jesus answered, neither hath this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. So yeah, okay. So what stood out to me this morning when I was reading that was that acknowledging that everything that happens isn't always like for a bad reason. It doesn't always have a bad cause. Like, even if you're going through something quote unquote bad, it's not always because you sinned or because your parents sinned or anything like that. Because that's what the people was asking him. They were thinking that, okay, why is this man blind? It has to be because somebody sinned, right? And Jesus was telling them, no, this is for pretty much, it was like the man was blind all his life for this moment. That's what I received. He was blind for that particular moment that is counted in the Bible today that I'm sitting here reading to y'all today. And I don't know how that can make you feel, you know what I mean? To know that, oh man, you mean that sometimes stuff I'm going through is just for the glory of God? Like, so you made me go through bad things, I don't know how that makes you feel. You could feel that way about it. But then when you think about the glory that comes from it, and again, it surpasses our own understanding. So, yeah, I mean, I guess if we just sit here and think with our human minds about these situations, then we could feel like, well, God, you just took me through bad things just so you could show off, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be, and that might be offensive to us or whatever. But I mean, I guess I beg to differ. I hope that I'm encouraging you and inspiring you to go deeper about this thought. Maybe seek God for the wisdom of why and things like that. But I hope this encourages you and inspires you to know that, okay, sometimes the things I'm going through may just be for the glory of God. It may not be, again, my sin, my parents' sin, or anything like that. And so, I mean, maybe that can help you move accordingly as well. If you know, okay, I'm going through something bad right now, but this could be one of those things that's for the glory of God, then I think that would start to shift your mindset. And maybe even give you that brain surgery we was talking about. Was it yesterday? Yeah, that brain surgery we was talking about yesterday. So, just basically renewing your mind about the things that happens in life and whatnot. Like to not get so caught up in whatever the issue is and start to look at the Father for, again, the glory and the miracle, right? The miracle in the midst of the situation. So that's what thing that stood out to me this morning. Let me give you guys another verse that stood out. It was in John 9:39. It says, "And Jesus said, For judgment I am come into this world, that they which see not might see, and that they which see might be made blind." This might be Pope. But let me tell you guys a little bit more. You guys can go deeper, like I said. Go read the entire account because the whole thing is good. But if I'm paraphrasing for a moment, basically after the blind man received his sight from going to wash in the pool of Siloam, the people started to recognize him. And they were like, "Isn't that blind man?" And somebody was like, he looked like that blind man. And blind man's like, "Yeah, I was that blind man, and everything like that." And then, of course, they started to ask him, like, "Well, how did this happen?" And he's like, "Some guy named Jesus did this, and I went to wash, and now I can see." And obviously, the word got back to the Pharisees and things like that. And the interesting thing is, when you're reading this account, you see that like they kept asking him the same question multiple times, almost as if they expected him to say something different. He's like, at some point, I think maybe like at the third or fourth time, he's like, "I already told you what happened. Like, if you don't receive what happened already, are you going to receive it after I tell you again? Like, I already told you 3-4 times what happened." They even went to the man's parents and said, "Oh, so y'all said that this guy was blind. Is this the son X, Y, and Z?" And the parents were so scared. It was like, "Look, that is our son. We don't know what happened. He was blind." And now he see. Ask him directly. He's of age. He can talk for himself, basically. And so, it's just very interesting, just reading the account. Because, of course, they're trying to find anything to find fault in Christ, when at the end of the day, they see the miracle in front of them. And at some point, the blind man was teaching them. And they got offended about that. "Oh, you ain't here trying to teach us," and then they cast them out and things like that. And then afterwards, that's when I believe this conversation, this verse that I just read to you all, took place. Because Jesus, basically came back to the man and was like, asking him, do he believe and everything like that. And the man worshiped and told him he did believe. And then after that, that's when he said this quote. And then right after he said this quote, you guys see in the next slide, the people, they understood what he was saying. Basically, because this blind man saw, right? He could see Christ. He could worship Christ. He knew, you know what I mean? Like, obviously what God had done for him and things of that nature. But the Pharisees that were claiming to be, or those that can see, right? Claiming to be those that believe, or whatever case may be, the miracle's right in front of them, and they're questioning it like time after time after time after time. They got to ask the whole city whether this thing is true or not. And so, to go deeper on that, the last verse that I felt led to write down today was John 9:41. It says, "If ye were blind, ye should have no sin. But now ye say, we see, therefore your sin remaineth." So I told y'all, basically after he said that last verse that I read to you guys a moment ago, the Pharisees was like, "Are you trying to say we the blind ones? Are you trying to say we blind?" And then basically Jesus says that, pretty much he says, yeah. But basically he's saying, if I break down this, is that, there wouldn't be any sin. If you were truly blind, like if you didn't know, or if you didn't claim to be believers, whatever the case may be, then there would be no sin because you didn't know. But because you claim to be believers, or whatever the case may be, you claim to be those that quote unquote see and you don't see, that means that, that there is sin in your situation. And so, I mean, that could be pulp today. You might not like to hear that, but I mean, I think we all know that believers are held to another standard. So that's a whole nother conversation, really. But like, again, if you claiming to be a believer, you claiming to be someone that quote unquote sees, then that means, yeah, you're held to another standard. Like, yeah, we all sin and fall short. Like, nobody's perfect, right? But at the end of the day, again, I don't know if you say implication or the overall consensus, I believe, is that as a believer, then you should be walking accordingly. You should be believing accordingly. You should be doing life accordingly to the Word of God, right? And so these are just an example here when it comes to this idea of blindness and things like that. And obviously, it's just one example and testimony when it comes to this guy's, healing. But I mean, we can fit it for any aspect of our life, thought y'all. Y'all could think about, like, how does this fit in my life? Like, am I a believer, but am I, I guess, lukewarm? Am I a believer, but am I not moving accordingly to the word? Like, just all these different things we can sit here and think about and let these things marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. This is ultimately the juice this morning. I ain't got too much else to share about this. I mean, you guys can go deeper. Because I ended up going deeper. You guys can go to gotquestions.org and check out a couple of articles. One of the articles was centered around, obviously, this account, and it was saying, why did Jesus spit for some of his miracles? Because, I mean, to be honest with y'all, like, if we do go deeper about this whole conversation about that saliva aspect, basically, for some reason, it was like I was taking this deep dive, and as I was reading this article, that was like addressing why did he use saliva, at some point it started talking about that saliva has all these healing properties or whatever the case may be, and I'm like, huh? And apparently the people of that day knew that or whatever. So one of the reasons could have been because of that. And I'm like, who knew? Yeah, I didn't know that saliva had all these healing properties. I think, when we think of spit or saliva or whatever, we're just thinking like, ew, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're like, and then it even crossed my mind today or this morning as I was reflecting on this, like, what if the man knew that he spit? Like, would he have let the man put, you know what I mean? Like, but then again, I guess if you're blind, you don't, not say you don't know what spit is, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but I did think about that. Like, if he had seen what he did before he put the clay on his eyes, like, would that have changed how he felt about the miracle? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I think, again, a lot of us, we look at just that part, and maybe we get so bogged down by, like, the saliva, the spit, the grotesqueness of it or whatever the case is, that we're missing the whole revelation and blessing that's in, again, John 9. But again, if you guys take out the time and read the entire thing, like I said, I think it's very good. It's it's a lot of good things in there to glean from in regards to wisdom and whatnot. I shared the things that really stood out to me, but there's plenty more in there. But yeah, I went deeper about this whole thing of saliva. I even was like trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, so did everybody know that the saliva has these properties but me? I was going deeper about that and like looking into what some of the medical things that is said about saliva. I also looked into, what else was it? Oh yeah, I did come across some things that was talking about the spiritual, I guess, meanings of saliva. But I didn't want to go too deep into that because obviously you guys can get into occult stuff and all that type of stuff as well. So I just wanted to focus on biblical things. So I just came on back to the Bible and it came on back to like gotquestions.org and stuff. But, you guys can go and look at on your own and see like, these things. I mean, obviously, the other thing that stood out to me about this whole saliva conversation, y'all, is just how important different things in our body is. And it's like we don't think about it because we use it all the time. But can you imagine if you didn't have saliva or if you couldn't naturally make it or whatever the case may be, like how different your life would be? Like, I don't even know, like I saw something today that was mentioning that if there was no saliva, then that's an indication of death or whatever the case may be. So I don't know how deep that is. You guys can look at that on your own, but I ended up taking that deep dive into saliva. I also read an article that was talking about does God still perform miracles today? Because again, what led me to this conversation today is seeing those two, I guess, quote unquote miracles this morning of two blind people being healed in these days and times and whatnot. And so I like to say, hey, I'm a living miracle, you know what I'm saying? But hey, I mean, a lot of times I think we miss the miracles of today, or we make light of them, and we don't think that it's God or whatever the case may be. So that might be something to think about and go deeper about as well. But that's ultimately the juice this morning, the blindness and saliva. I hope that you guys are encouraged and inspired by the things that you all heard. But let me share with you all the Bible verse of today, and that's Matthew 5:6. It says, "Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Just a reminder, today is Friday, so we have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show coming out tonight at 7 p.m. It's with Miss Jenny Alexander, an amazing author, relationship coach, and much, much more. So tune into her testimony tonight. And yeah, man, look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.